Hello, Monday Motivator fans. I am so happy to be back writing my Monday Motivators after a long break from recovering from my brain surgery this summer. Now that I am back and ready to go, I want to continue on with our theme for 2014, which is Live a Big Life Principles. For the month of November, I have chosen to focus on big resilience. This is something that I really have been coping with and working with since July 4th when I first got sick. And here it is already, the end of October, and we're moving into November. Resilience has been a hard one for me. You know, there's days that I feel resilient and I feel strong and I can bounce back from the adversity that I had this year. And then you know what? There's other days I don't feel so resilient. So I am working on this one, just like I hope you will work on it. One thing resilience is not, it is not about always being on top of your mountain and never falling off. Resilience is not about always being courageous and having this perfect life in front of you. Resilience is not about bouncing back the next day after you've had a traumatic experience or a huge setback. So what is resilience? Well, I've been studying resilience a lot the past several weeks because I have selected that as our theme for our 2015 Annual Conference for Administrative Excellence. And I have discovered a lot of great information. And I want to share that with you this month. For today, I want to focus on the definition of resilience that has to do with our ability to bounce back after adversity, a disappointment, or a failure, and learn the lessons. So I'm curious, what have some of your disappointments been this year in 2014? Were there things that you set out to do in January that you were really excited about? Just like a lot of us, we get excited, we set our goals, we set our dreams in January, and then before we know it, life starts to happen, and some of those don't come true. So were there dreams that you set in January of this year that have not come to fruition for you? Have you experienced some disappointments this year? Have you experienced some setbacks this year? Was there anything that you tried to do or set out to do at work and it didn't turn out like you had hoped? Did you have any major failures or did you just have some tiny little failures? Have you been disappointed in some people? So we all experience these things. That's natural, especially over a year's time. So what is a person supposed to do? How do we bounce back? Well, as I was writing this Monday Motivator, I started to think about what have I had to do to try to be resilient through my huge adversity, which, by the way, turned out to be a very successful surgery for me. But I still had to be resilient. And what have I been doing the past several months? Because it has been difficult, and what can you do? So I actually have 9 ideas that I want to share with you. And think about yourself. Are you trying to recover and recoup from a setback that you've had recently, or are you in the midst of something right now? So first of all is to identify. You know, adversity is different than a disappointment or a failure. Adversity is usually when something huge has happened to really knock you off your feet. And so yes, that is harder to recoup from that and bounce back from that. So be very clear. Was it adversity? Was it a disappointment you had? Or did you fail at something? And if it was a failure, was it a big failure or was it just a little failure? Second, to bounce back, we should take time to reflect on what happened. I've taken a lot of time to reflect on what has happened the past several months, why I was feeling the way I was feeling, you know, how it really turned my life upside down, and I was just in places I didn't want to be, you might say. So think about, how did you feel about what happened? and let those feelings flow. Be natural, be comfortable, and then, of course, we want to move on. So number 3, accept that you might have a harder time bouncing back from an adversity than a disappointment. And sometimes we make a small disappointment, and I know I've done this, into a big adversity. When we move forward and we look back in perspective, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Number 4, talk to a good friend at work or at home about your adversity, disappointment, or setback. And hopefully they're going to be a good listener, because sometimes we just need someone who will listen to us. Number 5, of course, you want to gather information from experts and coaches and mentors about what happened so you can learn from it, so you can prevent future mistakes or similar failures or setbacks. And again, so you can move forward. We're supposed to learn from our disappointments and failures and diversities. And therefore, we need to broaden our resources and reach out to others who can help us. Number 6, we have to take responsibility and course correct. That's where I am right now. I have to take ownership and responsibility and how am I going to correct my course and move on with my life. Number 7, take baby steps. Don't expect that every time you're going to bounce back right away. Sometimes we just need to take one step and then the next step and the next step. And then before you know it, you'll be running. Number 8, seize the moment and make the best of today. Make the best of every moment that you possibly can. Number 9 is to grasp the idea of resilience and course corrections is part of our learning and working journey. Again, as I've been studying resilience and this whole idea of bouncing back, we're supposed to truly learn from what happened. And even when it's something negative, what are the good lessons that we've learned from it, and how are we going to implement that into our life as we move forward? Well, that's it for today. I'm going to have 2 more Monday Motivators for you for the month of November, and I'm going to focus on different aspects of resilience. I hope that you can be resilient and develop this skill that is going to be very necessary as we move into 2015.